So we're here talking with Eva Gabrielsson, who's the author of There Are Things I Want You to Know About Stieg Larsson and Me. She was the 30-year companion of Stieg Larsson, author of the Millennium Trilogy. We wanted to ask her some questions about the book. So one of the first ones is, in the book, you talk quite a bit about sailing, the boat you own, the Josephine, and Stockholm Archipelago. Do you still find the time to do this, to make sailing a fairly large part of your life?
Well, I had trouble with the sailing bit because I sailed with Stieg and it brings memories back. But I did take a tour with a friend of mine 2 years ago just to see if I could manage at all. And we did choose a part of the archipelago where Stieg and I hadn't really been before, so it was new to me. And I found out I loved it. I really loved it. So, and I've been talking to Eleanor, who's traveling with me now. We might rent a boat a weekend or so and get out again. But I still think I'll have to avoid the very special places where Stieg and I used to end up, because it's, yeah, I'm not ready for that yet.
Of course.
Yeah.
So the book is very much about, I think even much more so than the Millennium Trilogy, it's about your political life that you shared with Stieg Larsson, with feminism, politics, and you talked about how you first met at a meeting supporting an anti-Vietnam War movement. Can I ask you, what inspired you to become involved in politics, in feminism, in these causes in the first place?
I think it wasn't so much an inspiration, it's the background we shared coming from the north of Sweden, Stieg and I. There's a culture there of cooperation, of respect between men and women, which is needed if you are to survive in those cold climates for centuries and generations. So it comes natural to you to have a humanistic approach to things. So it was more personal than political. To go into working against the Vietnam War. It was you didn't want any more people to get hurt, including the young Americans that we met, coming as deserters or from the war, or coming from the war, having served their time there, and you see the damage it did to them. So it was more of a personal thing that got a lot of political outlets during the years.
And you found that it remained sort of a personal thing as you were going through, all the way up through working with Expo and...
It has always been a personal thing, basically, rather than a political thing. I think that's the only way to have a sustainable, long-term activism in anything. It has to come from inside of you. There were many people who were active against the Vietnam War or in other political movements, and they sort of disappeared when it didn't bring them the money or the career or the prestige they wanted, and they went off to do other things. So I think it's more of a mark of that it was something that came from inside of you. It was the kind of person you wanted to be. It was the kind of world you wanted to see, rather than anything else.
And have you found, just because feminism is so important to the work that you shared, in many ways, the original title of the book was Men Who Hate Women, the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo in the United States, just really to highlight that as sort of a focus of the book about the feminism. Have you found that there's been, in your feeling, a significant impact that your work and Stieg's work and the books as well have had in advancing sort of feminist causes in the world?
I think so. I think it has an impact on individual people. It has had an impact on the debate. It has definitely helped individuals to rise from hopeless circumstances and take action. I have an email posted in the guest book of the support site for me set up by the Norwegians by a woman from Santa Barbara, who states that she got out of a horrible relationship thanks to Millennium, because she thought that if Lisbeth Salander can do this, I can too. And I personally got an email from a very young girl in Sweden right after the first book was published there in 2005. And she just wanted to thank Stieg Larsson for helping her to fight back and not commit suicide. So I had an email correspondence with this. So if it has this impact on the individuals, it has an impact on many more who maybe are not so vocal about it. And I do know that the books have had an impact on Spain, for instance, where there's a government authority that supervises the work of judges who work in the special courts, just dealing with abuse and against women and children. And they awarded Stieg their prize a few years back because they said that the Millennium books are much better than anything we have, any reports we have, any annual reports we do of our work, or any research studies we can do, because these books can explain to the Spanish people why we are doing this. And it was genuine, and it was very strange to see the Minister of Justice, the State Prosecutor, the Minister for Equity stand on stage and explain why they supported this award. And I felt like I was in a radical meeting against racism or something like that, because they really meant what they said. So naturally the books have had an impact that's difficult to measure, but I've seen enough of it to be sure that people have understood what's in the books and feel strengthened. They feel empowered by it.
And just sort of personally talking about your book, about there are things I want you to know about Stieg Larsson and Me. How have you felt about this book now that it's sort of going out into the world and the impact it's starting to have? What can you say about that? Or how would you like it to?
I'm kind of happy that I was able to do it. It started off as a private project, just for me to understand what had happened after his death. Then I was curious about the life we had shared. What were we doing really? And because I'm reading the Millennium books while they were sort of being created, I never saw anything out of the ordinary with them, with the ways of discussing, with the portraits of women, with the events that are played upon this particular group within the secret police, for instance. It did exist and so on. So I never saw anything out of the ordinary, but this is known, yes, I recognize this, yes, oh, we did that then, and so on. So for me it was just interesting books at the time. So when I started to write this, I wanted to, my own book, I wanted to draw on that and explain the reality behind Millennium. So that became the second part of the book that I was interested in exploring. So there were many gateways for me to come into and do this final project, so to say.
Now this is interesting because in one of the reviews of your book in USA Today, the reviewer compared you to Salinger in some cases, just in the sense of you have a very strong, obvious appreciation for justice and are sort of advancing it through the book in a certain ways. Do you find that a comparison that you would be glad to have heard made, or something where you think that that's relevant?
Well, I think it's relevant, the sense of justice and the sense of speaking out. Well, she's not actually doing that. That's Mikael Blomqvist's role in the book, in the books. But I think there's some truth to that. Though I don't agree with her methods all the time. I think she's too much of a free-flying missile on her own and could crash land anywhere and create havoc, which she also does. But yeah.
Okay. And just one final question, I think, is the way you've described your relationship with Stieg in the book is amazingly moving, and it seems almost like one of these sort of classic once in a lifetime, really true loves and partnerships in life. And I was wondering if I could ask what your memory of the life you shared with Stig feels like for you today.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy about the chance in life, chance meeting and taking action on that chance, feeling that, oh, this is somebody I really want to get to know. This is somebody I really want to share my life with. So I'm very happy of being given that chance, very happy of being able to develop to what I've become all these years, and also influencing him on becoming who he was. So I have no regrets, really, no regrets.
Okay, thank you very much. It's Eva Gabrielsson, author of There Are Things I Want You to Know About Stieg Larsson and Me. It is available everywhere. Thank you very much.